Just put your phone there.
Hmm?
Just put your phone.
I have it right here. I'll use yours. It's the first one I grabbed.
How's it going down there? Okay. I like 21. I like 23, the Modich version. Would like to invite you to find your space as we are about to begin.
שלא ייגמר לעולם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ורק השמיים, תפילת האדם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ורק השמיים, תפילת האדם.
My God, I pray that these things never end. The sun and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, and the prayer of the heart. Ecclesiastes wrote that the eye never has it filled from seeing. Young or old, those who depart this life never see enough of the world, never complete their task, never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home. How they yearned for yet another respite from the final summons, and how we yearned to have them close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, yet another joy, another precious moment together. God be now with those whose hearts are broken, because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Console them at this moment, be near to them when light seems and feels very distant. Sustain them, O God, until the time of healing.
We remember Patti and join our hearts together to give comfort and strength to her family, to her parents, Esther and Bill, to her sister Cheryl, her brother-in-law Lee, her nieces and nephew Ryan, Shayla, Curtis, and Jason, to her brother Brian. We remember especially at this time her brother Will, who's no longer with us as well, to her husband Doug, to Doug's son Greg and Angela, Aiden and Marcus, to Patti's Aunt Victoria, her cousin Corinne, and her cousins Charlotte and Teddy, to her uncle Leaf, to her cousin John Derman, Emily, Louis, Lily, and Luna, to her sister-in-law Mary Beth and Rebecca, and to her brother-in-law Ray.
Morning is a time filled with many emotions and memories, both bitter and sweet. We will begin our service with a recitation of psalms and prayers that's linking Patti's life with the millennia-old tradition of the people of Israel and the eternity of God.
Adonai roi, lo exar, b'neot Hashem, yarbitseni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni, nafshi yeshovev, yancheni v'magle tzedek, leman shemo. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Gam kilech begeit salmavet, lo irara, ki ata imadi. Shiftecha mishantecha, hema yenachamuni, taroch lefanai shulchan, neged zorerai, dishanta vashemen roshi, kosi revaya, ach tov v'chesed, yirdifuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti beveit Adonai leorech yamim. A Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me to water in places of repose. God renews my life and guards me in right paths as befits God's name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai for many long years.
Life is a vast and intricate tapestry, woven together by the hands of the divine. Each of us is a thread, unique in color, texture, and purpose, intertwined with the stories of those who came before us and those who will follow. When a loved one departs, it might seem as though a thread has been pulled from the fabric. We fear unraveling the space left behind, feeling like an irreparable gap, and yet the tapestry holds. It does not fall apart. The imprint of that thread remains woven into the whole, shaping the design forever. Ecclesiastes teaches, and the dust returned to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. The thread removed from the loom is not lost. It is simply returned to its source. The soul which once wove its way through our lives with kindness, wisdom, and love does not disappear. It is gathered back into the great waver's hand, part of a design beyond what we can see with our eyes. And though we grieve, though we long for their presence, we can take comfort in knowing that the pattern of our lives has been permanently shaped by their existence. Their laughter, their lessons, their love, these are the fibers. Shall we start again? Okay. And though we grieve, and though we long for their presence, we can take comfort in knowing that the pattern of our lives have been permanently shaped by their existence. Their laughter, their lessons, their love, these are the fibers that remain woven into us. We carry them forward, bound together by the threads of memory and meaning. The tapestry continues, and their spirit remains within it, shimmering through that wave. Our tradition teaches us that the commandment, the mitzvah of remembering, is probably within the most important ones. Why? Because that's how we become partners with God in fulfilling the promise of eternal life by means of engaging in active memory. We fulfill our promise for those that are, or God's promise for those that are sleeping in dust. So we will share some memories of Patti. We'll hear from family, friends, and from our beloved cantor, hoping to bring her spirit to this space, and a means of doing that, start shaping how we are going to carry forward her presence, legacy, and love.
Our Torah portion this week is Bishalach. It contains one of the most dramatic imageries found in the Torah, with the parting of the Red Sea and the Israelites leaving Egypt. As they are leaving Egypt, Moses gathers up the remains of Joseph so that he can bring them to the promised land, as was promised at the end of the book of Genesis. And while Patti's remains will eventually be scattered, she left a beautiful legacy to be remembered and held onto by those who had the pleasure to know her. Isaac Bashevis Singer, the renowned Jewish novelist, said, "The dead don't go anywhere. They are all here. Each man or woman is a cemetery, an actual cemetery in which lies our fathers and mothers, grandmother and grandfather, the wife and the child. Everyone is here all the time." Singer reminds us that we carry the essence of those we mourn within us. Our loved ones may physically pass on, but like Joseph, their presence reverberates in us and in the generations to come. As I met with the family earlier this week, one thing was obvious. Patti was larger than life, not just in stature, but in how she approached all of the things she did. Whether it was painting, sculpting, taking care of her parents and her husband, Patti did these things with precision and lots of love. Patti was born in August of 1956 in Casablanca and moved to the U.S. within her first year of life. From the time that Patti was a toddler, it was obvious that she had a mind of her own. She was very independent and liked to take charge even then. As young children, Patti saw her siblings as her own personal dolls. This included the time that she held her 3-year-old brother out the window so that he would walk, and her plan was to jump out afterwards and walk with him. Thankfully, Esther caught her in time. Or there was the time when she was 4 years old, and she did jump out the window and ran away. Esther called the police to say that Patti was missing, and Patti had already taken herself to the police station. Patti was 9 years old when Bill met her. She was already a big child and a bit on the hyper side. But Bill was able to control her, even if it took a little love tap to help her see the error of her ways. Will, Cheryl, and Patti were adopted by Bill when Patti was 9 years old, and Patti has had a wonderful relationship with both of her parents. In these later years, Patti would take Bill to the Shir Hadash Men's Club walks and often join them for lunch. It also became clear that Patti had an affinity for the arts. While attending Lee High School, Patti was a part of the drama group, but not the group on the stage. Patti helped develop the sets, and this carried over as she was an art major at San Jose State University. She had a wonderful relationship with her siblings, Will of blessed memory, Cheryl, and Brian. They would play Monopoly and compete for who would get the most hotels. They belonged to a ski club, though as Cheryl said, their parents signed them up for it so that Bill and Esther could have some time to themselves. It meant taking the kids to the bus every Saturday at 4 a.m., and then they would ski all day and return late in the evening. Sometimes they took family trips, and Brian said that Patti was very patient with him as skiing wasn't his thing. Brian also said that Patti was a good big sister, even though they were the polar opposite of each other. This made it a bit shocking as adults when they discovered that they had things in common. Patti was also a big walker. She had a good sense of direction, and I understand her favorite saying was, "Why did you go this way?" And while walking was fun, Patti also developed an affinity for the sea. She loved floating in the weightlessness with the seaweed flowing around. It presented a different world and perspective, a different canvas to experience. At some point, Patti had a friend who was into scuba diving, and Patti decided that she would try it out. And this is how she met Doug. Doug, already an experienced diver, was helping someone teach a diving class, and Patti was a student in the class. This is how they met. However, it was a diving trip to the Channel Islands off the Santa Barbara coast that solidified things. It was a group trip, and here Doug became interested in Patti. He took her personally under his wing, and they proceeded to dive together for the rest of that trip and continued diving throughout their marriage. The Channel Islands in Monterey were some of Patti's favorite spots to dive. You can imagine that Patti's love of diving and of the sea influenced her art and her jewelry. In 1991, Patti and Doug married, and in 1992, Patti opened her studio in a co-op's artist studio. Patti's favorite medium was painting and sculpting. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Patti would paint murals in people's houses, a lasting legacy there. And she also created her own jewelry. Of her jewelry, Patti said the following: "Making a statement is my goal. I believe that jewelry not only enhances an outfit, it also needs to make a statement about who you are or what kind of mood you are in. This is why you will find my designs eclectic and across the spectrum of style and color." Eclectic would be a great way to describe Patti. Helper, giver, loving, take charge, proactive, dynamo, sometimes a busybody, force of nature, a big heart, and compassionate. These are just a few words that her family has used to describe Patti. Patti loved to entertain, especially tea parties. And so the family invites you to join them after the service for a tea party in Patti's honor. And I hope that you will share with them your words that you would use to describe Patti. Joseph made his sons promise to return his remains to the promised land. Moses and then Joshua carried out this promise. We can be like our ancestors and carry Patti with us as we go on about our lives. May Patti's memory be a blessing for all of us, just as Patti treated each of you as a blessing in her life. Zichrona livracha. We're going to first hear from Bill.
Well, the cantor actually covered the story pretty well. But we'd have to say, if it weren't for Patti, I'd probably be half naked now, right now. She bought me, she helped me buy everything from underwear to socks to whatever I have on, including this is one of these wonderful shirts she helped me pick out. So she had a great artistic mind. I'm beginning to tear up already. But anyhow, she was very energetic, and you wouldn't know it. I thought I was very great shape. I used to, work out like mad. I remember when we were even younger, we were going to walk to town when we were living in San Jose, and I figured, well, Patti, she can't keep up with me. Are you kidding? I had to run to keep up with her because she was over 6 feet tall, and I'm a short little guy, and I have to take 2 or 3 steps of one of hers. But as I said, everything I have on almost. It's Patti helped me pick out. I guess she took over where Esther began when I was younger. But the biggest the biggest thing is that she was such energetic. She was such an energetic person, and it took this damn disgusting type of cancer, which is the worst in the world, to take her down. But that's life, and that's death, I guess. But God bless her.
We're going to hear now from Cheryl. Now we'll hear from Brian. We're going to hear from Doug now.
Hello. I'm over 6'5" and worked for UPS for 25 years. And when Patti took ahead and started walking somewhere, I had trouble keeping up. It was like, wait for me, I'm your partner. But back when we first met, I was teaching scuba and I was helping another instructor, and on our first ocean dive, I took Patti out and had her out in the ocean doing a little talk to 3 students, and her feet kept floating up in front of her. She couldn't keep her feet down. And every time her feet had come up, she'd kick and splash water in my face. And that was really my first experience with her. Splashing water in my face. But we went on to do many dives together, and about a year after that, year and a half, we got married. And I just remember I'm standing under the hoopah, and Bill is walking Patti down the aisle, and I'm looking at her, and my knees just got weak. She was such a beautiful, beautiful lady. And to this day, my knees still get weak when I look at her pictures. She was just the true love of my life, and I miss her so much. Thank you.
We're going to invite Julia up to come and say a few words, please.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm a very good friend of the family for 58 years. Talk louder, Bill. Yeah, okay. So we all know Patti had a big heart. She was 6 feet tall. Of course she had a big heart. Patti loved everybody, and I'm sure everybody here loved her too. She was compassionate, full of joy, a beautiful soul, had as much energy as a young puppy, and creatively talented. And she was very independent. Esther told me the story when she had 3 young babies at home in diapers. She went looking around the house for Patti, found the front door open, went outside, and saw Patti, a toddler in diapers, walking up the block. Patti was definitely independent. After Bill and Esther were married, the Linder family moved into the Bellwood community, a great neighborhood where everybody knows your name. Well, at least Patti knew everybody's name. That's where my family and I met Patti and her family 58 years ago, as many others did in the Bellwood neighborhood. Patti was very proud she was part of the first graduating class of 6th graders at Marisu Elementary School. It was a new school in the Bellwood neighborhood. She went to Lee High School and graduated in 1974. Go Longhorns. Let me see. Go Longhorns. Okay. She was involved in the drama group, ski club, French club, gymnastics, and you probably now know she did play a little cello. She could be a little mellow. Her artistic passion led her to study art and graduate from San Jose State University. Of course, she became best friends with her roommate in the dorms, Joni. Along with her sister Cheryl, she increased her numbers of girlfriends when she became member of the Delta Zeta sorority. In fact, then she had numerous sisters. And many of her other girlfriends were like a sister with Patti. I was for 58 years. After graduating, she actually went into sales, Patti was very talented in sales, always winning contests for selling the most of something. Starting young, selling the most Girl Scout cookies with her sister Cheryl many years in a row. Selling women's retail fashion, always wearing the latest trends, adding her own little twist of a bit of Pat Benatar or David Bowie influence. She sold machines for Pitney Bowes and worked in high-tech hardware sales like Micronics, where she met her dear friend Elaine. After meeting another tall, left-handed, creative person in scuba diving class, she dated and married Doug later, her husband. Together, they would take dive trips, plan photography shoots, ski trips, and travel to Honduras for their honeymoon. She was very independent and spent much time running around with her girlfriends. Doug wasn't always really sure where she was off to. With Doug's support, she jumped back into her artistic passion and created Muse Artistry, where she painted canvas, murals, and furniture. She designed sculpture and jewelry at she and Doug's studio at Alameda Artworks. She, of course, once again, knew everybody's name in the neighborhood, the Co-op Studios. Being born in Morocco, she was immersed in the French language as an infant, but soon moved to the U.S. when she was 1 year old. She studied French in high school, and over the past few years, she practiced French every day so she could speak with her relatives when she visited France several times. Patti loved dogs. She was an owner to Fluffy, Theo, and Lottie, a dog sitter to PC, Jenny, and Tucker. She was a loving aunt to Albie and Ginger, both family dogs. Really, more than her love for dogs was her compassion for people, forever protecting Doug and thinking of him before herself, a forever loving daughter devoted to her parents, a big sister leading the pack of Cheryl, Will, and Brian, not necessarily one for a role model, more the bossy one to take charge, and an instant friend to her clients and everyone she met. Patti loved giving tea parties and collected a variety of teacups. She hosted mother-daughter tea parties and girlfriend tea parties, preparing the most delicious tea sandwiches and desserts. She was a wonderful cook and hostess, just like her mother. Recently, this past September, she hosted a birthday tea party for just a few at Lisa's Tea Treasures. A unique, special, a creative, and a very loving person with the biggest heart. That's our best friend, wife, daughter, aunt, and sister. That's Patricia Elaine Linder-Dodd.
The world is a canvas waiting to be filled with the colors of life, both bright and stilled. Each day a new stroke, each moment a hue, painted with laughter, painted with dew. The sky is a canvas, a masterpiece high, with clouds that glide by, painting the sky. Each sunrise a brush, each sunset a blend, creating a picture never to end. The sea is a canvas, endless and vast, with waves that dance by, rolling at last. Each tide a new mix, each swirl a new shade, creating a wonder never to fade. We are the canvas, each one unique, with stories to tell and hearts to seek. Each life a new art, each soul a new view, painted with love, painted with truth. So let us create with our hearts and our hands, filling the world with all the hues and strands. For every stroke made, every color we bring is a gift to the world a joyous offering, the gift of color, the gift of art, things that will remain as a legacy from Patti.
We invite now those wearing ribbons to rise if they are physically able to do so. If you're wearing a ribbon, family, we invite you to please rise.
Yeah.
Now we invite the community to please join the family and rise. And if you can physically do that, physically, otherwise, in your spirit, for the memorial prayer.
El male rachamim, shochen b'meromim, aמצי מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה. אם קדושים וטהורים, כי זוהר כי המזהירים את נשמת פלטיה בת אריה ואסתר שהלך לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרו בצרור החיים את נשמתה, אדוני הוא נחלתה. ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן.
Abundant mercy, God Most High, may the soul of our loved one who has gone into eternity find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace, together with all the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold Patti close to you forever, so that her soul may be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May she find home with you, and may she rest in peace.
Invite the family to say the mourner's Kaddish. Yes. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei rabah, v'alma divrach hiruteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabah mevarach le'elam ulomei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabah mevarach le'elam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparamam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
The traditional blessing for the mourners, or traditional way in which we address the mourners, is by saying, המקום ינחם אתכם מתוך שער בית ציון בירושלים. May you find comfort. May God provide you comfort among the mourners of Zion in Jerusalem. And the way and the name that we give to God in this case is Amakom, may the place. Understanding that when one is mourning, the most fundamental comfort comes from the community surrounding us, from our families, from the memories that we can share with each other. So we encourage you to stay around, to share memories and to share your love, and to embody that idea of being the place for all those that are mourning right now. So we will invite the family to exit as we conclude this ceremony and this funeral, and you can, of course, join the family for the meal of consolation immediately after.
הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.